you would, tell us a little bit more about the program, how it's run. Is it just a lot of sitting in classroom, or do the explorers actually get some real experiences out in the field? You talked earlier about doing some ride-alongs, but some of those experiences, just if you could kind of touch on those.
Sure, we do have to do some classwork. They have to know their radio codes. They have to know some of the criminal codes. That stuff you can't really learn just by going out and doing it. You have to be in the classroom. You have to put in the study work to do that. But we try not to bore them in the classroom. We try to get them out in the field.
Taking notes.
15. How much? I think it was 116.
It was like 3.
What you're supposed to observe, that's what you're supposed to hear. So I can't tell you whether me or not, but that's up to you to figure out who it was by your observations, what you see, what you hear. So if I tell you it's cheating, I'm not going to tell you.
And doing high-risk stop training, or canines will come in and train them on how to do canine searches, or what the canine's doing when we're doing building searches. Or we've also done SWAT scenarios where the SWAT team will come in and teach them how to properly clear a room, both like a patrol officer would, and then how a SWAT team would. So we try to get them out and do more out in the field than just classroom work, but we have to do some of the boring classroom work, which is typical of cops. We have to go out in there and do our thing, and then we have to come back in and write our paperwork. So it's not always the fun stuff, but we have to get it done.
Boring classroom work, they have to learn the phonetic alphabet, basically.
Correct.
So there's a lot of carryover into, I mean, in aviation, I know there's a lot of similarities. They're not all the same. I learned that myself as a pilot in the reserve that I did with the DPS. There are some things that are different that I used to get laughed at frequently from other officers when I'd go to say something and I was using what I'd learned as a pilot. And it takes a while to get used to that. And then, of course, once you kind of work in your way into that, then when you're on aviation, then you're doing it wrong again. But it was all good. The main thing is you need to be clear when you're talking on the radio, and people need to understand. Seems like there's been a new direction where they're trying to get people to just say what's going on. Quit trying to remember all these other things and just kind of make it simple. And I don't think Glendale's there. I don't think most of the agencies in Arizona are there yet, but I know there's a push to kind of go that direction.
Absolutely, and you hit upon a great point, Mayor. We teach the explorers simple things as talking on the radio and how to sound professional on the air. And many times, we'll help out with the cities such as Glendale Glitters, where we have the explorers help out
and
looking for lost children.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And even just getting on the radio and knowing how to say what you need to say in a precise, concise tone, professional tone matters. And many times what's really neat is when they become police officers, they get that experience as an explorer, and they sound very professional on the air. Many times when you get a newer officer, they sound very new on the radio just because they're nervous. And with the experience that we provide them, they're a step ahead in whatever goals they want to attain into the future.
I think both you guys know, most people know that community service is really, really important to me in so many different ways. So let's talk a little bit more about the community service that the Explorers do. You touched a little bit on it already at the Chocolate Affair, Glendale Glitters. I've seen the Explorers out there teamed up and walking around, which is a huge advantage to the city, but there's other things I know that they do. Could you talk about that?
Yes, sir. Recently we helped out Councilmember Aldama with passing out water, in the southern portion of the city, just help community members out, pass out information about city services. I know just recently back in February, the Explorers donated over 300 hours of volunteer time to help out with the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl. And
now, were they watching the game?
Maybe on TV, sir. They were quite busy. But I know many of them were doing little things like logistics of checking officers in, parking cars, for officers that were unfamiliar with the area, over there at the landfill. Just little things that could free a sworn officer up, from getting caught up in. So they gave a lot of their time. They gave up their Sundays for both of the ball games. We did provide them pizza and made sure they were well taken care of. But just their dedication and their their efforts, their attitudes, they're exemplary, and we're very fortunate to be part of this group of this excellent group of kids.
And I've had people tell me when they've seen the Explorers, they said, these young people, they're really professional. And you can tell that when you look at them, the way they act, even their uniforms are crisp. I mean, that says an awful lot. They take a lot of pride in what they're doing, and I think that portrays Glendale wonderfully. I really do.
Yes,
Can you tell us a little bit more about the types of service that the Explorers do? I mean, I know there's some other things.
Yeah, the Shredathon, they're helping out with the Shredathon with our community action team on October 3rd.
And I've seen them yeah.
Anything that Glendale needs, many times we'll get phone calls from the community asking if they could help out in some community service, and obviously if they're available, we try our best to schedule them. Just something as simple as like recently up at the Foothills substation, it was in need of a paint job, and we went up there and we painted the hallways and we helped sweep the leaves out of the driveway, which it's been sitting there for quite a while. Right. And I know at least 20 Explorers donated their Saturday to help spruce up the building. And of course the other precinct now wants us to come and help out, which we're more than happy to help them out and get things spruced up. And even something as simple as washing the patrol cars and getting the tires armor-all, making things look good. They're there to help them, and they definitely enjoy going out there and just doing the right thing. And
we got our Christmas parade coming up again this year, and that's something that I haven't made an official request, but I would love to have them involved in that.
Absolutely.
Because that does represent the city. We got Stand Up for Veterans coming up towards the end of September.
Yes, which we are signed up for.
27th, and I think you guys are already involved in that.
Sir.
But yeah, we have a lot of things coming up, and and I call them kids. Maybe I shouldn't, because it's not a lack of respect. I certainly respect them immensely, but they're a lot younger than me. So, so we're still going to call them kids, but they're really great. Now, if someone was watching and having an event that they'd like them at, how would they go about getting in contact as far as trying to find out if in fact they could get them to show up?
Yeah, they can just get on our website. If you click on the left side of the Glendale Police city website, there's a link for the Explorer Post.
Okay, and the address?
Is explorers@glendaleaz.com, or they could call my direct line at 623-772-7156, or Detective Mooney's phone number.
623-930-3449.
We'll just take a moment to try to share some of the success stories that I know that you guys personally have from that program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We've graduated some of our Explorers, and they've been hired. I think I touched on this a little bit earlier. We have 2 of our Explorers down at Tempe Police Department, one of who is accelerating through their department extremely quickly and is looked at as a leader with only 3 years on there. So we're extremely proud of her. We have some at Buckeye, Tolleson, DPS, as well as many other agencies throughout the valley and the state, as well as leaders who, we have some who are out-of-state police officers as well. They don't just stay within the state, so they're branching out throughout the country. And then other leaders throughout the valley and private business as well.
Yeah, the thing that I guess really impresses me is the fact that as a kid, here we go with the kid again. As a kid, you went through the Explorers program, and then you not only went through that, but now you've come back and you're a sergeant, and now you're teaching them, and you're still within this community. I mean, where you actually sort of got involved as a kid, you're still giving back to the community. Absolutely. To me, that's really cool.
I graduated from Deer Valley High School in 1991, and part of our, we had a senior government class where we had to go on a police ride-along. So I went on a ride-along with a Glendale police officer since I lived in Glendale, and the officer back then, who has since been retired many years ago, said, hey, why don't you join the Explorers? And I did, and I've actually physically been involved with this police department since I was 17 years of age. So I've been here for 25 years, 21 as a sworn police officer.
A lot of changes, haven't you?
Many changes, sir. We went from a department of maybe 200 officers to 430 officers right now. So it's amazing the changes here. And to touch upon Detective Mooney's success stories, recently we've had 4 additional Explorers, get on with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department as detention officers, and they hire at 18 years of age, as you well know. And for a police officer, you have to be 21. But they're, upon them exiting our Explorer Post, they said their ultimate goal is to get back here, and become full-fledged Glendale police officers. That's their ultimate goal, because they've been really impressed with our Explorer Post, with our police department, and our city as a whole. It's obvious that we have extreme support from from yourself, from the community. The support we get from Chief Black and our command staff is exceptional. We are given a lot of flexibility to get the job done, and it definitely shows in the quality of our posts, the amount of awards that we win, and just the quality of explorers that we have. We currently have 40 on the books right now, and someday we hope to expand it a little bit more, just to get more young adults involved in the program.
And I'm hoping that this, along with, I know you guys have a lot of other things going on, but this will help make that
Absolutely.
happen. I guess a couple other questions I have. One is, how much easier does this make them getting their post certification, going through your training, than if they just went to class?
I can tell you just from personal experience, I was an explorer for approximately 3 years prior to me becoming a sworn police officer, and just the little things like learning the radio codes that are specific to Glendale, the 100 blocks within the city of Glendale, and just the overall culture of the police department. Every police department's job is to serve the community and catch bad folks, but they all have their own little differences, their own little nuances, and I learned the Glendale way early on, and at least for me personally, it helped tremendously. I have several explorers that are almost of age to test for police officers, and just the knowledge they've gained from what we have taught them, simply, how to communicate with people, how to look at a person in the eye, how to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, what can I do to help you? Those little things that we teach, I firmly believe gives them a leg up in the competition. We know that it's still very competitive. For every one open position, you're gonna have hundreds of applicants, and any little thing to help them out to get through the process definitely would help. At least for me, I was fortunate enough to get hired at a very young age, and with our fine department, and it has been a very fun ride throughout the years.
And they're going into it with their eyes open.
Definitely.
They're not going into it blind.
Yeah, there are some some that realize this isn't the job for them. It takes a very special personality to do this job, and some don't want to do, but others, actually most of them, definitely want to pursue it.
But you say that, even that makes it even better for the fact that they might get into the Explorers program and go, yeah, this isn't for me. And then they didn't waste a lot of money and a lot of time going through a school to find out when they get out of the job, it's like, okay, this isn't what I expected.
Exactly. Yep.
And it gives them a chance to go ahead and do something different, and who knows what they might end up doing. With that, we've got a couple more things, and then we're going to be wrapping this up. Is there any other requirements besides age, grades, anything that you might want to relay?
They are expected to keep a C average within school.
Well, that's cutting them some slack, isn't it?
Yeah, we try to hold them to it, and most of our explorers exceed well above a C average. But that's a standard that's set by Learning for Life, and we adhere to that. They're required to keep 16 hours of community service a month while they're in the post.
That's quite a bit.
Now, we hold them to that when we provide those times to them. If there's no events or anything that are being asked of them, then we just require their meeting times of the 2.5 hours a week to meet on Mondays.
They're really committing to this.
Yes, absolutely.
It isn't kind of a hit and miss deal.
They're committed. Most of them do more than the 16 hours, well more than 16 hours. Probably half of our explorers are doing 100 plus hours a month in community service.
Yeah, we check their backgrounds like a police officer would be checked. We check their social media. We do school checks. Because they're representing our police department. We tell them what you do away from here can affect what happens here, just like a police officer. Everything we do is basically we're mimicking what they would go through as an officer, so there's no surprises. Even within our Explorer Post, we have a ranking system within. We have squads that are separated, just like how it is, for the officers out there in the field. So everything we do here, they will see later on if they're fortunate enough to get hired on as a police officer or a civilian employee later in the future.
Well, I really want to thank both of you for joining me on this program today. It's something that I think you guys know, about where I'm at with public safety and law enforcement. But the chance to give these younger folks an opportunity, a leg up, basically.
Absolutely.
Give them a chance to kind of see what's going on and make that decision. Right now, again, thank you so much for your service, both of you.
Thank you.
And for being on this program today. I really do appreciate that very much. Now, we do have to take a quick break, and later on we'll return. We'll talk to two of these young folks who will share what they like about being a police explorer. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Bye.